How to Compel Unbeliever here. Today I'm going to tell the story of my cousin, the mega evangelist. In this video, you're going to learn the inside story from a family member's perspective of what a charlatan con man does. It just got real.
Oh, wow.
Please like this video. Please tweet this video. Please put it on Facebook. Put this in every form of media that you possibly can, because this story does need to be told. This story is important. People need to know what mega evangelists actually do. As a result of telling this story, the family that does still keep contact with me probably are not going to have any contact with me anymore. So please fill up the comments. That does help in YouTube on the algorithms. Let me know what you think. Do you have any stories like this? I've been very, very hesitant to tell this story for a number of reasons. One, my cousin was murdered about 2 years ago. And frankly, the story is just very embarrassing to the family. I will call him John, conveniently, because that was his name. So let's go to the very beginning. When I was about 14 years old, about 1984, my cousin evidently at one point in time was in the mafia, and he went to jail. The mafia was wanting him to do hits on people, from what I understand, and he found Jesus. I think this may have been a ploy to get out of the mafia. I don't know. He had such charisma. I don't know how he got out of the mafia, but he managed to. And he did become a mega evangelist. Now, I call him a mega evangelist. To my knowledge, he did not have a church, but he fit the mold of Peter Popoff, John Hagee, Kenneth Copeland, Joel Osteen. In fact, he did learn his craft from Houston. He was being groomed to be a mega evangelist, and he was very good at it. I idolized John. As I've expressed throughout on this channel, I was very, very religious. My family was extremely religious. And so he was kind of the rock star of the family. He had charisma like you would not believe. When he walked in the room, even at a family gathering, he owned the room. And he just couldn't help it. He just was that kind of guy. Amazing. Just this magnetism that was just ungodly. Mysteriously, all of a sudden, when I was about 16, 17, I think it was about 17, about 1987, I found out that he was no longer a preacher. He was a condom salesman, a designer condom salesman. He had a shop in Houston, Texas, which was a very strange thing for a mega evangelist to do. So let's back up a little bit. I think it was about when I was 15, he came to town to see our grandmother. And he got a hold of my high school, and he billeted himself as a motivational speaker. And he spoke at my school, and I was really proud. It was pretty amazing to, have a family member of this caliber in the family. And he kind of said, well, I'm not supposed to mention church or God or anything, but if you go to this church on Sunday, I'm going to be there speaking. Well, of course, I just could not wait. This guy literally had miracles. God worked miracles through him all the time. It was absolutely amazing. I wanted to be like John. I went to church, and I had some very, very close friends there, some very, very close friends and family. Um, he set up the service in a very specific way. The preacher introduced him and he talked for a bit. He gave these amazing stories. One of them was there was this egg on this man's head, and he put his hand on there, and he literally felt this egg, this tumor, just melt under his hand. And he gave all kinds of stories like this, and then suddenly he started calling out in the crowd. Jenny has a aunt with cancer. God has seen to that need. There's someone that lives at a particular address. He would give 1116 Orange Grove, with a heart problem. That need has been taken care of. Anyway, it worked the room, and he did this with about 8 different people. And then he said, we need to take a break right now, and let's take about a 15-minute break, and then I'll get back to what I'm doing. So this became a meet and greet. Well, the congregation exploded. Everybody's like, oh my God, this man is a man of God. Only God could be telling him these things, because he gave such exact details of these different needs that God was taking care of. The congregation was just completely worked up, completely excited. And then he got back on stage and he said, okay, I realize that the plates have been passed for the church. Basically, if you can help my ministry, please do. And they passed the plates. And of course, everybody, just filling him up. He happened to drive a Ferrari, and his wife, Debbie, drove a Alfa Romeo. He even talked about the Ferrari a little bit and said that he got this great discount, that he had prayed to God and God gave it to him, kind of touching on the prosperity doctrine. I think that this was before the prosperity doctrine even had a title or name. So, moving right along, of course, I just was astounded. I wanted to be like John even more. So, I saw him at Grandma's house, and I saw him at my house, and the weird thing was, the one thing that he did not want to talk about was God. I would ask him questions. His wife even drove me to the church that day. And he just didn't want to talk about it. Didn't want to talk about God at all, and he would blow me off. He says, oh yeah, we'll talk about that later. And he never got back to me. I just kind of wrote it off as, he's doing this for a living. He just wants to spend time with the family. And, I kind of felt a little bit neglected and hurt because I just idolize him so much. The years went by. And like I said, he became this designer condom salesman, which was pretty bizarre. Later, I put things together. Peter Popoff, the mega evangelist, is still around today. In fact, my character, Reverend Faithful, he for a while he sold holy water. And I kind of borrowed that idea for my character, Reverend Faithful. Go ahead and check out the Reverend Faithful videos. That was kind of the inspiration. Reverend Faithful himself was kind of an inspiration from John, because John was a charlatan and a con man. Anyway, in 1986, I'm going to look it up here. I've got it on the screen. I believe it was... James Randi. did an investigation, and he suspected that Peter Popoff was doing something under the table. He got a radio system that could detect or record whatever was on the airwaves, and he actually caught Peter Popoff's wife reading the prayer cards, which is exactly what my cousin did. The prayer cards, or the prayer requests, were filled out at the beginning of the service and passed in the collection plate for the church. So Debbie, I was wondering where Debbie was during the service, because she had just disappeared. I even asked because I kind of had a crush on her. She was just a beautiful woman and just just had a wonderful personality. So they collected the place. Well, Debbie and Peter Popoff's wife collected the cards, and John and Debbie did the same thing that Peter Popoff and his wife did. He had a earpiece. He had long hair like this. It was the 80s. He had kind of a mullet. It was really cool. And that was very good for covering up the earpiece that he had in, while Debbie read off the prayer cards. And that's how he was able to work the crowd. He got them into this rush of excitement, stopped immediately, and let everybody talk about how wonderful he was, how only God could have given him that information. And then it was time to pass out the plates again for his ministry. When my cousin stopped doing this, the reason he stopped doing this was because Peter Popoff got busted, and he knew damn good and well that he was going to be busted too. He just couldn't do it anymore. John actively hid his past. He moved to where I live now about 25 years ago, and he was a very renowned artist in this community, very well-known person. He was the artist for a statue of John C. Fremont that is huge. You can see it on Google Images. When he passed, I talked to a bunch of different people that knew him well, and not one of them knew that he was a mega evangelist. So he knew what he was doing was wrong. He tried to actively hide it. Was he embarrassed by it? No. Would he have continued doing it if he could have gotten away with it? Yes. He was a charlatan, a con man, and a liar. This is what mega evangelists do. It is shameful. I am ashamed to call myself his cousin. And now, like I said, whatever family members do have contact with me are not going to, because I have let this skeleton out of the closet. But to me, that doesn't matter. What's important is that people know. This is just one of the reasons that I, compelled unbeliever, no longer believe there is a God. Again, please do like this video. Put something in the comments. Let me know what you think. Retweet this, Facebook it, put it in every form of media that you have available, because this story does need to be told.